We're back after the international break. It's a new episode of The View from the Ninian. And as soon as Ben Price came back, he's gone away again on holiday this week. So we've drafted in Alternative Wales and our boss, Ryan March, into the podcast. Ryan, welcome to the podcast again. How you doing?
Yeah, thanks for having me. Ben Price loves a holiday. Got to give him credit. He really does love a holiday. And glad to be on after only our second bad performance of the year. My other appearance this season was after the other bad performance. So make of that what you will.
Yeah. And joining us as always is Tom Phillips. Tom, what news from Australia?
I've done my back in doing some gardening, which is, a low point. No spiders. Just injured. Yeah, no bites or anything like that. But this one was a real struggle to get up for today between my back and it being 5 a.m. But I am glad to be here nonetheless.
Yeah, he sounds it. Ryan's second performance of the season, second appearance of the season, should I say. The first, it was after Port Vale, wasn't it, as you just said? So another week of Ryan, another draw. Maybe we should stop having you on. Right, we're back after the international break. So while you're here, Ryan, as one of our nation's foremost commentators, opinion makers, whatever you want to say about the international break, we thought we'd talk about that briefly. There was contrasting fortunes, wasn't there, for Cardiff City players, Ryan? Obviously, Dylan Lawler made his debut against Kazakhstan on a 4G pitch and looked assured, comfortable, and like he'd been there his whole life. Ronan Capaccio made his debut against Canada at Swansea and was pretty much the opposite.
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, fantastic to see so many Cardiff players involved in the squad. Obviously, I know Ruben Colwell wasn't picked in the original squad, but barring a knock that he'd picked up against Plymouth, he would have been in as well. Yeah. After the injuries, obviously, it might have been slightly different. We were the team that was best represented in the squad after Wrexham lost Danny Ward and Nathan Broadhead. So, first of all, fantastic that that's the case. And I think will be the case going forward, unless, big teams start splashing cash for some of these lads, which is obviously a worry already. But yeah, I was quietly confident that Lawler would play in Kazakhstan after the call-up. I think I would probably say that Wales, before this international break, I would have said Wales were quite thin on the ground at centre-back, especially, and we have been for a while. And Lawler, I knew it wouldn't be too far until he got a call-up, let alone a cap. So, but I was pleased to see him start. I thought he was brilliant. I was a bit nervous for him. Obviously, it was a difficult old game to get into. Kazakhstan away is, no walk in the park, with the travel, with the pitch, with all that comes with that. But he looked so confident, and it was more of a difficult game than I think everyone expected. We were under the cosh a lot, and I think we rode our luck as a team, and we rode our luck in the game, and probably Kazakhstan will be, not even probably, definitely Kazakhstan will be fuming they didn't even get a draw. But I think that wasn't down to the defence. I think the defence saved the day multiple times. And Dylan Lawler looked confident. He looked, you wouldn't look at that game and think that's a man making his international debut at 19 years old. And long may that continue. Capaccio, on the other hand, a much more difficult proposition. Canada looked sharp. Wales looked leggy. Wales didn't look dynamic. Wales didn't look like they'd played together before. And I think Capaccio was one of the biggest victims of that, and had a bit of a torrid time on his side. Their wingers were quick. They were dynamic. They moved the ball really well. And I just thought that it was probably the wrong game for him to get stuck into. And, it won't define his Wales career. He wasn't the only person who put in a bit of a subpar performance. And yeah, I'm not too concerned. It's international football. It's a completely different beast. And yeah, I think he'll have plenty of caps and plenty of better moments to come. But again, glad he's involved. And I think also shout out to Joel Colwell making his debut as well, coming off the bench. Difficult to make an impact in a game like that when he did come on, but I thought he looked fairly assured. And probably him and Kai Andrews coming on when they did in to replace Charlie Crew and Jordan James, I did think that the midfield looked better post those subs, but maybe that was just a part of the game. But, all in all, great that so many Cardiff players are involved, because for years and years and years, we didn't even have one Welsh player in the squad. So it's fantastic to have them. And just an added bonus for us Cardiff fans. Already sick of the Cardiff Swansea.
Back and forth.
I saw a lot of people talking about, oh my God, he's already unlodged Cabango. I thought Cabango had a good game in Swansea, and it's just nice to have options. And I think when it comes to Wales, it shouldn't really matter. But from a Cardiff perspective, nice to see so many Welsh lads involved. It's what we want.
Tom, on Dylan Lawler, making his debut, as Ryan says, there in a difficult place, not an easy place to play because it's 4G, but also it's miles away. And it's a bit of the unknown. You don't know so much about those kind of teams because we don't get same access to their football and their domestic football. But it looked like to me, as in any event, it looked like he'd been playing international football for years. He was assured on the ball. He was getting the ball. He was telling others where to go, telling players where he wanted the ball, where he wanted to put it. It just kind of adds more, I don't even know what the word is. Adds more authority to his stock, doesn't it? And he's going to be attracting even more attention now than he was before.
Yeah, for sure. Because there's a difference between having a good game at Port Vale and then having a good game on an international stage. You've got different eyes on you. And it's good in terms of his value, but it's bad in terms of he won't be here very long if it continues.
Yeah.
And he's a man who's clearly got confidence. You hear him in press conferences and stuff like that as well. He's on about
we're going to annihilate them.
Yeah, and we're going to annihilate the league and stuff like that. But it doesn't come across in an arrogance way. He's just very, very confident in his own abilities, and he should be because he's good at football. And it is nice being on this podcast and not and ahhing whether we speak about the international break because we're not a Wales podcast and things like that when we've just travelled 2,000 miles to watch them play. We have got people involved now, and he's going to be involved every single time now because he was so assured. And fair play to Bellamy because, it does take balls to just put some straight into that as well because it was a qualifier. It's not a friendly. And he's seen those performances. He's seen that it fits in the system and he's benefited from it straight away. And bar probably his first performance against Peterborough, where he's probably a little bit ropey at times, he hasn't really put a foot wrong. He's been absolutely outstanding. And, we knew he'd be in and around the team this year because, he played at Villa last year and things like that. But the way he's stepped up and he's just cemented his place in that team is ridiculously impressive. And there's no doubt that we're benefiting from his performances so far with our defensive record. And it's just really, really exciting.
When you look on FOTMob, he was the highest rated of the three defenders, which is pretty incredible when he's playing alongside Ben Davies and Chris Metham. But also he had a 98% pass accuracy on his debut, which I just think for a centre-half who's 19 years old making his international debut, that's an insane statistic. So, it only benefits Cardiff. It's fantastic to know that we've got players like that who are going to be so trusted on the international stage. But Ryan, Stockport yesterday, 1-1 draw at Edgeley Park in the cramped away conditions that away end. But the surprise was that Lawler didn't start. BBM took the international break and his chance to kind of shuffle his pack a little bit, brought in Chambers and NG, dropping Capaccio and Lawler to the bench. It's just rotation ahead of a busy few weeks and after a busy few weeks, isn't it? Because it's an acknowledgement that those players have been travelling, but it's also a look ahead to the fact we've got 4 games in the next 14 days.
Yeah, we have a squad for a reason. And I guess the biggest compliment of it all is the fact that we look like we missed them both. And I think we were better for it when they came on. And I think that's a huge compliment for both those players. But, they're young. And you see what happens when young lads break in and play almost every week for a few years. They burn out. It has to be done properly. And thankfully, obviously, BBM comes from a background working with young players. He probably knows better than most as to when to pull lads out of the team and give them that sort of break. And maybe he saw this as an opportunity to do so. I think we were worse for it, which is a concern, maybe ever so slightly. But it's part and parcel of football, especially in the Football League and League One, where you're playing 46 games and it's Saturday, Tuesday, and then you've got cup competitions as well on top of it. You've got to use your squad, and that was the decision that BBM made, and I don't think I can begrudge him for it.
Yeah, Tom, and those changes probably contributed to the fact we started a bit sluggishly on Saturday. We can talk about the whole game, but the first half in particular, we just didn't look like the same Cardiff team of recent weeks, did we?
No, far from it. And I think it's worrying that it's 2 championship mainstays coming into the squad that causes that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they should be the ones that come in and like kind of we should be just more level-headed. They should know better. But it feels like the hangover from last season is well and truly ingrained in Chambers and NG. And I think if most Cardiff fans had their way, they wouldn't be anywhere near the starting 11. And that's what we feared, right? We thought that NG coming back in could go either way, and it's not going the way that we'd want it to. And we'll get on to it later on, but like little mistakes from him again, like probably aggression at the wrong times and stuff like that. But say we started sluggishly, we didn't really get going until about 10 minutes to go, really. Like we were just poor from start to finish. But we're going to have games like that this year. It's a pity it's against a team who I think going into this game, I'd like this fixture to be a bit of a marker for us. Because again, it's one of those teams in and around us in the odds of kind of like going up automatically. We put our marker down against Luton. I thought this was an ideal opportunity again, coming off an international break with the team being together to do exactly that again. Like you win away at Stockport, you win away at Luton, and suddenly you're going, look, that's probably two of our hardest fixtures, if not the hardest, out of the way. And we're still sitting pretty. We're still sitting pretty, but not as pretty as we could have been. But I think we've got to look at the positives. We've got away with one there.
Yeah, Ryan, in terms of getting away with one, the first half, it just felt like it was all Stockport, didn't it? They hit the post, they forced great saves from Trott. It kind of felt like we were hemmed in at times and we couldn't break clear. It felt like it was one-way traffic, didn't it, in that first half?
Yeah, to be totally honest with you, Ben, I thought we were absolutely shit, really, for the vast majority of the game.
Yeah, beat around the bush there, boys.
Yeah, no, I think a couple of things. I thought we were under par, and it wasn't what we've come to expect from this team. But I also think Stockport, to a degree, did a job on us. I think they strangled us and stopped us from playing, and it felt like the amount of times that we were trying to play and like break the lines, the midfield just didn't get any of the ball, and it just felt like they were we weren't able to take control of the game. And I think if Stockport had it better finishing and we had a worse goalkeeper, they would have seen that game off and should have seen that game off. But there was reasons to be cheerful. I think there was a few moments here and there, not many. It was very few and far between. But at the end of the day, we came away from with a result from a place where in a team who will. Before the season started, we were talking about as one of the biggest threats to automatic promotion. I don't think they've started particularly well, but I think they'll come good. And it's a tough place to go. All the cliches. We did rest a few players, and we came away with something. So it was a bad performance. I hope it doesn't become a like I said earlier, it's 46 games. You can't expect them to play absolutely swashbuckling football and blow teams away every week. But it's about getting something out of those games when you are below par for whatever reason. And maybe it was the international break that just that stunted that momentum slightly. But we got a good opportunity then in midweek to get going again before the league game on Saturday. So bit of a shame. Performance wasn't there, but yeah, it just felt a little bit disjointed. And I think we got to credit Stockport for that to a degree.
Yeah, I think they completely snuffed out Colwell, didn't they? It felt like he never was able to get. Yeah, and Salek as well. I was going to talk.
They strangled them both.
Next. Yeah, like even Joel Colwell, against Wimbledon, Joel Colwell was able to get on the ball and bring it out, take it past a few players and run across the halfway line with it, kind of opening up into space. Ruben and Joel couldn't get on the ball. It felt like Ruben Colwell had none of the kind of moments he had against Plymouth where he was able to find space and make something happen. I think they just suffocated the midfield. And talking about Salek, Tom, it looked like it was going to be another, we'll talk about the goal, obviously, later on. But it felt like it was going to be another frustrating afternoon for Salek, didn't it? Because he just was out-muscled a lot of the time. They were being quite clever with him, pushing and pulling him and getting away with it. And he was kind of a very frustrated figure, wasn't he?
Yeah, it's a bit of rinse and repeat, isn't it, really, this season, where defences early doors just get stuck into him, work out if the referee's going to give fouls for certain types of challenges, realise it's League One and they're not going to, and carry on doing it for the whole fixture. And fair play to the defences, they've worked him out, right? He can't put the same performances in that he could in the Championship because it is a different level and different type of officiating. And yeah, he's a frustrated figure. Again, I think he'll get used to it. I think he'll get used to this level. He'll put himself about a bit as well. I wouldn't say he looks weak or anything in the challenge. It's just, no. I think he needs to diversify his game a little bit because he's not getting away with the same stuff as he would have before. But he does look a frustrated figure. Even when he scored, it's not the like unbridled joy you'd want to see from him really later on. But
it's more like relief, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's fine. I think he's an asset. He's a huge asset, and he'll definitely get double figures for us this season, possibly a lot more than that. So he scored his goal in a game where he was below par. The rest of the team were below par. So another one to chalk into that positives column that Ryan started earlier on. So yeah, it's not all doom and gloom.
I don't think we necessarily play to his strengths either.
No,
the wing. I know Kean Ashford had a very difficult afternoon, and it just wasn't happening for him.
It just didn't work for him, did it?
No, he just wasn't with it, and whatever. I don't know. I mean, he was just not on it, and Willock does it to a degree. But to be honest, the only time he did it was for the goal. It's like this wasn't the byline, but it's like you want to see those wingers get beyond their man, get to the byline, hang it up in that, between that 6-yard box area for Salek to attack. We're sort of trying to play the ball into him, and you sort of have him bring everyone else with him. But sometimes you just want to get out to your wingers, get in the channel, get to the byline, and just pop it on a plate for him to head in the back of the net. And I know that is easier said than done. And it was only really Willock who put a ball in a dangerous area for him to attack. And that was the 97th minute. It's like, yes, I think we're playing really good football. And yes, I like the sort of the way we build up, and, we're not necessarily having to go long. But sometimes when you've got a striker like Salek, it's like, let's just play to his strengths. Let's get the ball in the air to him and let him attack the ball in the box. And I'd like to see more of that, and I think he would as well.
Yeah, well, I mean, we'll talk about the second half, but there was the chance where Willock was flagged offside when I don't think he was, where he managed to get to the byline, pull the ball back, and Salek had a chance to put it away. Maybe he wouldn't have had the chance if the offside hadn't been given. But I think it looked like they were starting to do that. But obviously Willock got called for offside for that one, so it didn't count. Let's talk about their penalty, Tom. We've already mentioned Perry Ng and those little errors, but that was very naive from him, wasn't it?
He just completely gets on the wrong side of him. Like, he's just not in the position he should be. And at that point, I don't know, there's not much you can do but bundle him over.
No.
And I think it's just an experienced defender who needs to get ahead of his man. Like, he just doesn't do it. He's not in the right position. Perhaps he's rusty, but yeah, it's just poor decision making. And it's in a game where we were already massively under the cosh. That's not the mistake we need to be doing, like, especially from one of your senior players. So it's just another frustrating one. Like, if that was one of your youngsters coming through, you'd be like, oh, that's naivety, he's new to the game and stuff like that. It shouldn't be there from Perry Ng, really. He should be doing better in that position. But yeah, it came at an awful time for us as well. We needed to be getting back into that game, and it just gave them even more of a foothold.
Yeah, Ryan, obviously there was a few frustrations from our side. One, was it a foul? I think he's done enough that the referee's going to give the foul. But I think the frustration comes from the fact that Salek was being fouled every time the ball went forward and those weren't being given. And obviously Chambers and Bagan were pretty adamant that there was a foul in the build-up. I didn't really see that at the time. Bearing in mind, I was sat down behind someone, so I couldn't even see what happened. But having watched it back on the highlights, is there a case for Chambers being fouled? The guy kind of kicked through the back of him. Does he get the ball? I've seen him given. I'll say that.
Yeah, he was really unhappy about it, wasn't he, at the time? Yeah, probably. It was one of those games where, like, the ref did let a lot of stuff that I thought was stonewall go. Yeah. And then maybe the smaller, nigglier fouls were maybe the ones that he gave. And it was just one of those frustrating days where, I don't know, it was a weird old series of events. And I think the whole refereeing performance was quite weird. I think Wintle was absolutely furious at one point. He got a booking for screaming at the referee for, again, what looked like an absolute stone wall where the guy just flew through him. And then about a minute later, just a really sort of small, innocuous challenge is getting pulled up and goes against us. It's hard not to feel aggrieved. And but maybe if that's the only way teams can score against us at the moment is from the penalty spot, then
that's it.
That's not too bad. So yeah, I think on on reflection on the whole first half, they probably deserved to be 1-0 up. Probably not from a penalty. I think they had 2 other chances. They hit the post and Trott had to make a particularly good reflex save from point blank range. So if you sort of look at the game like that, then you can't feel too aggrieved. But Perry and G's got to know better. I think, we see this too many times from him, don't we? Where he tries something silly or he just, I don't know. And weirdly, I didn't see it properly at the time because the ball had sort of gone beyond him, hadn't he? And I was watching the ball, and then in my peripheral vision, I saw him sort of like fumble over someone, and I was a little bit surprised the ref gave it. But you can't complain too much. I don't think.
There was another one in the second half, but quite late on, which again goes into the kind of inconsistent refereeing book, where I think Chambers had been the guy had headed. There was a clash of heads. Chambers went down holding his head. The referee let the game go on to the point where Stockport, I think, could have won a free kick. And at that point, he called it back and said it was a head injury. But if it was a head injury, he should never have got that far. And I also think he only gave it as a head injury because he should have called it back earlier when it was probably a foul. And it just, there was little incidents like that just didn't make much sense over the course of the game. Similarly, Tom, with the offsides, it just comes back to the point, isn't it, that we're in League One and the officials at this level are League One officials.
Yeah, I think we're going to be saying the same thing week in, week out, right? And we don't want to bash officials. I really don't but
I do.
It is okay. Yeah, you crack on. No, I think it is going to be up and down. And the thing is, in these games, if you're not playing well and the other team have got momentum, they're going to get more decisions. I think it's going to be that simple, really. I think when the officiating is that inconsistent, you've kind of got to earn some of the decisions, and we didn't in that game. So nothing was going to kind of fall our way. But with the offsides, we're going to get some frustrating calls this year. We're going to have goals disallowed. We might have ones that fall into our favour. But I think it may not balance out over the season and stuff like that. I think it's just we've got to be good enough in games that we create multiple chances to put teams away. So if we do have some of those decisions go against us, we've done enough. And in that game, we definitely didn't do enough to override some of the poor decisions that came our way.
No, I mean, the Willock ones in the second half were particularly baffling. I think there was one where it was so obvious that he'd run around the guy that, he was almost basically just past him when the linesman had called it back sort of 3 or 4 yards. It was like there was no way he could have been ahead of him at that point. It didn't make any sense. And talking about not making chances, for the XG fans out there, we had a 0.43 XG in yesterday's game. I think before Salah's goal, it was about 0.01 or something ridiculous. So it wasn't a great game for us. Ryan, obviously, second half, it wasn't great, but things did improve, and it improved when we made changes, didn't it? It shows the kind of strength we had on our bench. Brought people like Callum Robinson on, brought Turnbull on, brought Lawler on. But at that point, things started to look better, didn't they, for us?
Yeah, we were stood right in the corner where they were warming up, but it was like I spent most of that first 15 minutes of the second half just longingly looking at the lads warming up and thinking we could really do it, getting them on. I think we probably could have made a change at halftime. I think on the hour mark, I think the writing was on the wall earlier than that. I would have liked to have seen changes slightly earlier, but I mean, I'm not in the dugout for a reason, I guess. There must have been a reason for it, but it was nice, not afraid to use them, using all 5 subs over two sub breaks. And I think we've seen managers make bad subs in the past. We've seen managers not make subs in the past, or making subs that shouldn't be being made, changing the game. And they were the right subs at the right time with the right players. I think you always know it's a good sub when everyone around you is sort of talking about the sub beforehand, and they were the obvious ones to make it. It's nice to have those sort of players on the bench, and they can come on and change a game. And because I don't think football is necessarily, not your best 11 doesn't always necessarily start. And because you have 5 subs now, you can, and because of the the amount of footballers played, you can have players come off the bench and have your starters and your finishers and your game changers. And it felt like all the subs were made with the right subs, and I think huge credit for Dylan Lawler. I mean, I don't want to start bashing Callum Chambers, but considering he was the most experienced player on that pitch, he looked way off it. And the quality of ball out from defence, he wasn't winning headers.
He was
and then all of a sudden, Yeah, you put a 19-year-old Dylan Lawler on and everything looks more assured. We were playing the ball into midfield. We just looked a bit more confident. We looked a bit more slick. And, good teams are built from the defence, aren't they? And I think Dylan Lawler went a long way to sort of make a case that he is undroppable at the moment, despite everything I said earlier about having to manage young players in minutes. He does feel like he's undroppable. And hopefully we see Osho as well soon. I think he's another one that would maybe take the heat off Lawler, because I do think Callum Chambers, looking now, is probably our fourth best centre-back.
Yeah, and I think as soon as Lawler came on, Fish looked more assured. Fish looked more confident. Puskod, looked more confident. He looked like he wanted the ball more. And we also just looked like we were willing to press higher up the pitch as well. I think when we had Chambers on, it felt like we were playing very deep. And obviously, as we brought those players on, we pushed higher up the pitch, and it felt like we were playing much further up the park than we were previously. Callum Robinson came on again. Looked like he's doing the 8 dog this year, playing in the midfield. I'm fascinated by the Callum Robinson arc this year, because he doesn't seem to want to play striker. He seems to want to play in that midfield, which is interesting. Tom, let's talk about the goal. We were ratcheting up the pressure at that point, but it just didn't feel like we'd score. There were some bad overhit crosses going in, but Chris Willock stood up again, put a lovely cross in. I've watched it back a few times. The way Salek goes between the defenders is amazing. He kind of, neither of them get near him, but game. The keeper, Adai, he doesn't really know what to do, and Salek just nods it home. 97th minute. Second time he's done that in a year. He did it against Millwall in the 97th minute as well. Just a lovely moment, wasn't it?
Yeah, and one that's massively needed, I think.
Yeah.
Coming out of that game with a 1-1 draw, you're like, okay, perhaps that stemmed the momentum. But the nature of the 1-1 draw, the nature of the goal, the timing of it actually keeps that momentum going in what is a really, really shit performance all round. But it was a really, really nice cross. I think as a keeper there, as we mentioned before, I've played goalkeeper, so bit of sympathy here. It is one of those awkward ones I stood up and you don't know whether to come or not because the way it's swinging in. It's probably poor goalkeeping. It's poor defending because they get absolutely nowhere near him. They don't they're not even touching him.
They're yards away from
the game. You've got to be busting a gut to stay with him. Like, even if he's nowhere near the ball, he's the threat of getting to the ball. So one of you's got to stick with him. But yeah, Salek, his movement in those positions to stay switched on at that stage of the game, he is very, very good at doing it. And all he needed to do at that point then was to make contact. It didn't need to be put in the corner or anything. It just needed to be put on target because the keeper's in no man's land. There isn't a defender within 5 yards of him. And cue the away end going absolutely nuts. But I think it could be a massive, massive goal in context of the season as well, because we limp to that kind of 1-0 loss at Stockport, and you're kind of questioning, shit, we're not really the team we thought we were. But again, we look at the positive side of it. We've got that resolve. We're getting points when we don't deserve it, and suddenly the whole narrative changes. So big, big moment, and the Willock redemption arc continues.
Yeah,
on Willock briefly, I just want to sort of crawl back any comments I've made previously. I think on the last podcast, it was obviously after the Port Vale game where he kept putting in dreadful crosses and that were just too far. And I sort of wrote him off and said, we don't need players like this with us anymore. And since then, he's sort of gone on a one-man mission to sort of make me look thick. Not hard,
it's good to see.
I know. But he looks like a man reborn, like a completely different player to the player we saw last season and even for a few games at the start of the season. So all the credit to him, because I think it's easy for a player like him, where he's at in his career, played most of his career in the Championship, to sort of just go, right, I want to move. I'm done. I've done my bit. I could probably get another Championship contract. But he's mucked in and he's become hugely important for us and hugely like one of our main creative sparks. And I think you spoke about it as well, about sort of Cardiff players love a scapegoat, and he was slowly becoming that scapegoat. And since the Luton game, really, he's proved to be absolutely not that. And all the credit to him.
Who could be our scapegoat now then? Perry NG, Tom? Callum Chambers? Are they going to be
Chambers
our
and NG?
Chambers and NG.
Yeah.
I saw a
The
lot of
obvious one.
Ian Ashford hate yesterday, but I think that was very harsh. He didn't have a good game, but you can't, he's still a child. let's not.
The Chambers one's interesting, right? Because like a few weeks ago, when we've had those cup games, like, Chambers needs a bit of game time, to build his confidence. But every time he plays, he's exposing himself even more. Like he's just becoming worse and worse.
You can be arrested for stuff like that as well.
Yeah, as soon as I said that, it did sound a bit more dodgy. Then he's dropping his shorts in the middle of the centre circle. It's a tactic. It may work. But I think now we've got some assured centre-backs, it does just make his kind of, I don't know, his weaknesses stand out even more. And I do worry for him because he should be there, like club captain. He should be one of our more experienced players. Perhaps we just need him on the bench to say the right things rather than actually out on the pitch performing, because he's certainly not doing that. So, yeah, he's the scapegoat for me at the moment.
All right, that's fair enough. I can't remember what I was going to say before you talked about Chris Willock, Ryan. So I'll just forget and move on to the next bit. That's okay. It's okay. It's my short attention span. It's more to do with me than it is to do with you.
I see you switch off, actually.
Could you?
Yeah, you were just fiddling with something in your hands. It was lovely to see.
Yeah, I've scratched my eyebrow and I've managed to cut myself.
I thought you stopped.
Yeah, holding your eyebrow, lovely.
Yeah, if anyone's watching at home and you're wondering why that is, I've got a little thing in my eyebrow that I've scratched. So I might have to attend to that in a minute.
Nice.
But yeah, Tom, I mean, it was a poor performance. It wasn't the performance we expected. 1-1 against Stockport is still not a bad result, but we probably would have won, before the international break, we'd have been confident of 3 points. But we still haven't conceded a goal from open play. We still have a game in hand. We're still top of the table. Things aren't all bad, are they?
I think a draw Stockport, I think it would have split our kind of fan base. I reckon plenty of our fans would have taken 1-1 before that game. And it's a good result in the grand scheme of things. Like, Stockport score a lot of goals as well.
Yeah.
And the fact we only managed to concede one is more luck than judgment, don't get me wrong. But I think it's a decent result and it keeps that momentum going. We've got another cup game now midweek, which I'm caring about less and less the better we're doing in the league. As much, I do love a cup game, but this one is stretching it a little bit. But yeah, that game against Bradford next weekend is huge. I think if we can keep getting draws like this away from home when we're performing badly, it's our home form that will take care of us in the table. So I think I'm looking at this Bradford one as the major kind of milestone rather than Stockport. But yeah, I think it's a really, really decent point. And to be honest, I think they would have been happy with the point before the game. We would have been happy with the point before the game. But they definitely deserve the 3 points. We definitely got away with one.
Ryan, just a brief conversation about the away end. Should away ends like that be banned?
Well, this is a difficult one for me because I do love a rogue away end. I do. It was aesthetically lovely because it was so shit. I did take my little camera that I've started taking football matches and forgot to put my memory card in, but I was quite gutted because everything looked great. But logistically, not great, especially for the bigger man like you, Ben. You're such a strappingly tall, handsome man. And sometimes you struggle to operate on those sort of terraces. It was weird. We were lucky because before the game, we were all sort of bemoaning the fact there was no roof on the end and it was set to rain. It didn't, which is great news because otherwise we'd have all been drenched. I didn't think it helped the atmosphere because I didn't feel like it was particularly loud because obviously everything just sort of goes into the sky because there's no roof. It was one of those. I bet there was some bad shins on those buses back to South Wales because it was weird, like the way the steps worked. It was clearly an old terrace that they'd put seats on rather than built for seats. And I know they're doing work on it. And it's as much as I love the good old fashioned away ends and terraces and long for those older days. There's a reason why. You can't have it anymore because it is dangerous. And Ben, I know you struggled being so strappingly tall and handsome.
Yeah, I think that it was the handsomeness that really caused me problems yesterday. No, it was. I think we got in. They sent us down to the far end, and I think we were stood amongst people who would rather have been sat, but because the away end was so shonky, they had to kind of stand. But that meant that I couldn't stand because at 6'4", if I and as
Show
wide as I am, I basically blocked the view of about 4 or 5 people behind me because the two corresponding rows behind me was still lower than I would have been stood up. And bless, there was a guy behind me. He was an older gentleman. I think I stood up to let someone out as they wanted to get past me. And as I stood up, I knocked him over. So I'm really sorry to that man. But it was just how tight it was. I had to sit down for the first half because I could just about see through the crowd of people stood up. But I had to sit with my legs side saddle because there was no like Goodison Park is the worst ground I've been to for legroom. I think this was probably half that. So it was a lot worse than Goodison Park. So fair play to Stockport for doing the work on it, and it was nice that it didn't rain. It was nice to be on a terrace, but yeah, I had to find somewhere else to stand. I went and stood by the floodlight for most of the first half, just out of necessity, because there was no way I could stand anywhere else.
I'd like to see. Is Ben Price going to be doing the thumbnail for this still, despite his absence?
He's already done it. He's already done it. That's how committed he is.
He should have put that picture I took of you in it, featured that in it. I think that it was a nice picture, Ben. It summed up the first half.
Did sum up the first half. Me looking into the sun, going, I can't really fucking see anything.
Yeah. Is anything even worth seeing right now?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I think Joel Bagan got the man of the match on FOTMob, or he was our highest rated player, on FOTMob with a 7.8. So we'll continue our praise for Joel Bagan, and we'll move on to Twitter. Twitter.com/VFT Ninian for all your tweets. About 35 this week, which is a good number. A bit less than what we've had in previous weeks, but that helps me because sometimes I can't read them all. So starting with Mark Carter, friend of the pod, massive point on to the next. What has happened to Perry NG? He barely looks like he cares about anything other than shit housing lately. And Tom, as we know with Perry NG, he's not very good at it, is he?
No, he's got worse at it. I thought it was one of his strong points early doors, but he's less selective with his shit housing now, and it's coming back to bite him. So yeah, we need to see a little bit less of it.
Henry says we still struggle to deal with physicality and we probably have to sign some, but Yusuf is a lion and fights for everything. Thomas Taylor coming away with something after a performance like that is super positive. It's a long old season, but these are very promising signs. Josie Wales says the more we struggle against physical teams away, the more teams will dish that up for us on the road. Delighted for Salek, needed and deserved the goal. Big game next week. Di Richards, our Vegas correspondent. These games will happen. It was clear that Lawler and Capaccio should start and that we were slower and more sloppy with Chambers and NG. What does feel good, though, is that we know BBM will learn and move forward accordingly. Sloper Road Blue says, miss Lawler's composure and ability to link defence and midfield. Similar performance to Port Vale. And to be fair, we weren't great versus Wimbledon either. So perhaps a sign of things to come away from home. But we dug in, kept working and came away with a point. Good teams always find a way. And Ryan, I think that's the key thing to remember, isn't it? That if we played like that away from home last year, we probably would have lost 4-0.
Oh, easily, yeah. And I think good teams get out of shit situations, and we got out of shit situation there. So all the credit to the players and the staff, even if it was a poor performance. So I think we mentioned it earlier, if we can keep doing that when we need to and keep winning our games at home, we're going to be absolutely fine this year.
Sven Carr, proper away day with a great bunch of lads. It was great having you with us, Sven. Bring on Wigan away. Now we are moving into autumn season. This is the big question, boys. This is the big one. Top 3 soups.
Soups.
We're shifting into soup mode.
Yeah. Well, I waxed lyrical on pies on my last one. So
soups then. Hit us with your 3 soups, Ryan.
Do you want me to get into the soup scene?
Yeah. I want your top 3.
I don't see you as a soup man, Ryan.
I think Ryan's a soup man with about 14 slices of bread.
You've got me wrong.
As it should be.
I'm not a big bread man, though.
That's fucking odd.
You're weird, Ryan.
What's wrong with you?
What do you have with your soup?
Loads of black pepper on everything.
That's fair enough.
Yeah. My Mount Soup more is... It doesn't work really, does it?
No.
I enjoyed it either way.
You've got to go for your 442 Route 1 tomato soup, cream of.
Perfect. Yeah. Heinz?
There's a reason it's the best, it's the most popular soup out there. You know, sometimes you've got to call a spade a spade. Loads of black pepper, loads. Bit of white pepper as well sometimes. Superb. Hearty, warm.
Yeah, there we
go. Second one, leek and potato. Again, solid, basic, but that little chunk of potato, a bit of leek, lovely. And number 3, when you fancy something a little bit more funky with a bit of a kick, a butternut squash with a bit of chili knocking about in it. Nice sort of warm in. They're my big 3 soups. And yeah, I stand by that.
Tom?
Tomatoes my number one with like a whole loaf of bread and a whole block of cheese.
Nice, yeah.
A carrot and coriander.
Yeah.
Big fan of that. And probably then an oxtail soup, I think, would be my big three.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Mine probably isn't too dissimilar. Cream of tomato always. I was probably going to go with like a carrot and coriander, but with like chili. And what I've had recently, and I'm just going to throw this in just to be different because I would have said an oxtail as well, because me and Tom are the same person.
Yeah.
I probably would have go with something like a Mexican bean soup.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, like like a nice tomato-based sauce with some nice kidney beans or black beans or pinto beans in there as well.
Bit of protein. Can't fault
Bit
it.
of protein. No, you can't.
I will
fault it.
raise you this,
protein.
Ben. I'm surprised you didn't mention it, and I thought it might be an open goal for you. What about the dragon?
What about the dragon
soup?
Oh,
come on!
Come on, the dragon soup. I didn't get a dragon soup yesterday.
Good.
Which
it should be
good,
banned.
Yeah. Tom, I mean, people know about your experience of dragon soup, but it always sends you slightly over the edge, doesn't it?
Yes, why I live in Australia now. I can't be trusted within any 20 yards of a corner shop in the UK because a dragon soup ends up in my hand. And it does something to me that other drink doesn't. I become an absolute mess. And so that's why you insisted on giving me one every single away trip at about 7 a.m.
Well, it would always be on the way home.
Yeah, but
in the morning.
You'd set the scene.
Yeah.
Like it'd be mentioned that when Greg's was still in hand, and then it would the thought of it would linger all day.
A famous day out on the dragon soups.
Rotherham, I think it was last day of the season. That's when I almost got into a fight with a Derby fan in O'Neill's Euston because he asked why, as a Welsh person, I lived in London.
Oh yeah, good times.
And my head got so hot so quickly. It was like the hottest my head has ever been, and I had to extract myself from the pub. But good times though. Good times. That didn't happen last night either. Gareth Davis, stop Ruben and you stop Cardiff. Credit to Stockport, they did their homework. Easier question to answer. Are refs going to give us anything this season? No. Oliver Rees loved Ben's retro jacket. Thank you very much. Chris Willock is a half-decent footballer. Did end up singing about him all the way back to the station. Big smash and grab that. Yeah, Oliver Rees, I think he's the president of the Chris Willock fan club this season. Ryan Lewis, I thought Trott was outstanding again, but need to rethink Chambers as captain. He didn't show a lot of character again today. Think it's the Bagan, Fish, Lawler, Capaccio. Ryan, what are you doing?
Sorry, I'm putting my laptop charger in.
You know we do this on YouTube now.
Yeah.
Chris,
I'd rather be fully charged than go dead. So...
Yeah, good point, actually. Good point.
Yeah, that a t-shirt. Yeah.
Chris Faraday felt like last season for most of that game. What has happened to Kian? Such a good footballer, but looks lacking in confidence at the moment. Why are League One referees so bad and anti-City? Chris Heron burgled a point there against a side who totally outplayed us. Thought Puscott and Willock were good throughout.
Like that.
What's that?
Burgled. I've never used a point to be burgled before, but yeah.
If we call Puscott, do we have to call Willock Whitlock?
No.
Okay.
No, because then it gets silly. Let's just draw a line in that right now.
Chris Whitlock were good throughout. Everyone else off the pace today. Krista Watt says Chambers and NG's days up at the club, both shit and didn't bring anything near what Lawler and Capaccio do. Very, very early days, but they had a kind of results that get teams promoted, brackets hopefully champions. Savigma, this is the neatest submission of it. We scored and left. Matt CCFC, woeful performance, but huge point against a side who will be up there. Was always going to be tough. Could prove to be a massive moment in the season. Need to improve for Bradford. Should be a cracker. Daniel Morgan, we're going up back to back. Bring on the Prem. Gigi Bluebird, we know we can play a lot better than that, but we did also steal a point. Shows the character of the team. Also, I'm holding off on criticising NG because he hasn't played a lot of games after being injured. Die, that's what champions do. This is a good question. He's gone from Perry's fan account to Trott's fan account. So Trott's fan account says, if you had to field a pub quiz team from a current and former Cardiff player, who would you pick? So you're picking two players, a current player and a former player to be on your pub quiz team. I'm going to go first. Current player with Puscott. I think it looks like an intelligent man with a good head on his shoulders. In terms of past players, I think I'm going to go with Don Cowie. I think he just knows a lot of stuff.
I've got
and
mine.
He's got stamina.
I think. Wasn't Tom Adeyemi famously clever?
He's now a doctor, I believe.
Yeah, so that would be mine. And I don't know,
So current player. Eli King looks quite clever.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'd go Will Pusgood as well. I keep giving him as my answer for all of these hypothetical situations. I'm sharing a room with him. I'm going to a quiz with him. I'm taking him out for dinner next week to show him my favourite soup. So,
bit of fish soup. Go on, Ryan.
Ollie Tanner and Ricky Lambert. Because I bet that'd be a laugh. Wouldn't get far in the quiz, but you'd speak some absolute shit.
Yeah, Ricky Lambert would bring all that numbers stuff, wouldn't he? That not all numbers mean stuff.
In all seriousness, I think Glenn Louvens will have a bit about him.
He would, yeah. Dutch.
Yeah.
They know stuff.
Is that prerequisite to being clever?
Yeah, good.
They know stuff. Zach Emanuel says, will Salek have to be punched in the face to win a free kick? Probably. Just another Bluebird. I'm surprised that BBM continues to see Chambers primarily as a centre-half and that he played ahead of Osho yesterday. Chambers looked decent in the 6 role last season. I'd much rather see him used there in rotation with Wintle and Mafiko over the season. Pep, nice to see you yesterday, Pep. These League One limbs are going to break me this season, I fear, but I'm all for it. Looking forward to Exeter away on Tuesday. BBM has got these players to a place where they enjoy themselves and never stop working. What a season we are in for. John T.M. Williams, raised my eyebrows at selections, but put it down to international travelling. We still need to get the ball over from wide and need to ensure we keep it better. MJCCFC, 8 points out of 12 away from home and the 2 worst performances of the season, but we got appointed both. Definitely the trait of a top 2 side. Rodri, R. Chambers and NG, not good enough, or BBM wrong for breaking up our defence? Little column A, little column B, I think. Sam Reese, people will say smash and grab, but Stockport weren't great. I'm still waiting to see a decent team in League One. Lawler and Capaccio back to start from next week.
I've seen a decent team in League One.
Is it us?
Yes.
Rob Jones says a lot of home teams will bring that physical pressing game this season and we need to learn how to deal with it better. Can't complain with that snatch and grab point. Felt like a win. Next Saturday is huge. Mark CCFC Development says beginning to acquire an excellent trait of playing poorly as well as playing great but still not losing. However, long term, BBM is going to have to find a solution of dealing with the loss of players due to weariness in the aftermath of international duty as it could harm us. Lee Spear, performance was lacking, but this side just doesn't give up. That's what momentum does. It grows belief. That's just what we do. Sellers says we need a bulky boy defender. Now, I'm not sure if he means bully boy or bulky boy, but I like it either way. Yeah. Either will do. I could be the bulky boy defender, but we got NG who does... Yeah, that'd be great, wouldn't it? Me getting signed up halfway through the season. Go, right, in you go, Ben. God, you would see the... You thought Spencer Pryor turned like a milk float. You would see it with me. NG, who does stupid things, and Chambers, who's so ineffective and not a leader, looked more solid with Capaccio and Lawler on. Delighted side with the Salek goal and another assist for Willock. What a turnaround. Leon Millard said, if it was a bout of boxing, it was the equivalent of being beaten up for 12 rounds and the judge voting it a draw. Chambers should never play centre-back again. Salek is struggling with service and we seem to be losing the physical battle with defenders. We miss Tanner. A Bristolian Bluebird, Sam Hardwell, says a Stockport rattling us for 90-plus minutes. Now we live in their heads all weekend. They have been particularly mind-lossy on Twitter. And Yayan Hood says 95 minutes, we were second best, but all forgotten with a great last-minute equaliser, making it a successful away day. My biggest takeaway, though, is that I need to lose weight and I'm balding as I got caught a blinder on the TV, which begs the question, what's the best away day scran? Tom, best away day scran? Have we done this before? I don't think we have.
I think we've done this many a time. But...
Carry it on. We'll do it again. Refresh it.
Oh, you go first.
You can't beat a pie, in my opinion. Can't beat a pie. Any sort of pie. I like a regional variation. Ryan's gone. He's furious about that. That's his last.
He loves some hot cake.
I don't think he had it plugged in properly.
He doesn't like bread, so hot dogs and burgers are out for Ryan.
They are. Well, I mean, I was going to say best the way they scran normally is a pie, but you can't beat 12 pints and not eating either. So that's a good away
I do like an away end where they try and come up with some sort of like mad burger offer with this like 4 patties, 9 sausages, and it's called
15
like
rashers of bacon,
the belly bus or head exploder or something like that.
Yeah.
So, and you're like, I know I'm not going to finish this, but will I order it? Of course I will.
Of course I'll order it.
Yeah.
Oh, Ryan's back.
Sorry. I think my internet's being affected by the storm that Cardiff is currently experiencing.
But anyway, best away day scran, Ryan.
Ever?
What's your go-to? Let's say what's your go-to?
I mean, a pie is a pretty solid one, as I sort of went I went hard on last time. Yeah, I think you can't beat a pie. I think the ceiling for a pie, not the ceiling, the floor for a pie is fairly high. I don't think you can have too bad a pie, but the burger floor is a lot lower, if that makes sense.
Oh, yeah.
I think you can have a much better burger than you can a pie, but you could also have a much worse burger than you can have a pie.
The median of a pie is better than the median of a burger.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. Yes, correct. Yeah. Best of all time, there's like an Indian street food van outside Molyneux that does like tikka chips and like chicken tikka sort of chicken. You know what I'm trying to say. It's very nice and very good. And when we play Wolves again, I will be having it.
Not to lengthen this pod anymore, but does that count as a away day scran if it's not within the vicinity of a stadium?
Well, it's this is the thing, is that when does it qualify as, because this is immediately outside Molyneux. It's like within the stadium complex, but not through the turnstile. So when does it fully?
I think that counts, in my opinion. I think it needs to be. That doesn't operate if the football club's not there, does it?
No.
Do you know what I mean? Like, that's not there on a Tuesday.
That's an interesting.
Yeah. So you can't claim something in, like, you can't go somewhere in Canton and say, like, Miss Millie's, for example. Used to have a Miss Millie's before a lot of Cardiff games back in the day when that was in Canton. God rest its soul. Absolute beautiful place. Love you, Miss Millie.
And your fried chicken.
Yeah. You wouldn't class that because that is there all the time. Well, not all the time anymore, unfortunately. But you know what I'm saying? But then, yeah.
But then what would you say? So, just as at that point, to take this conversation into another direction.
Because that's exactly what we need.
Yeah.
Yeah, come on.
Grazing Shed used to have a concession in the stadium. Could you say that you had a grazing shed at their town location? Say that?
No,
you
not just
you have to have it in the ground.
Come on.
Getting silly now.
Yeah. Good points, well made. I think that counts as a away day scram.
Fine.
For no reason.
Yes,
let's do it. Can I write something for Alternative Wales about it?
Yes, 100% would take it.
All right, I'll write about the Merthyr Cobb, because that's what anyone writes.
Because that hasn't been done to death.
I'm sick to death of hearing about the fucking Cobb.
I won't talk about it. Twitter.com/FD Ninian for all your tweets. Shout out to everyone I met yesterday. Bridgen Bluebirds. There was another lad I met at the station who lived in southeast London. There was a guy who came up to me, brought me in close and said, "This." He whispered. He went, "This is one for the pod. This, you ready? This is one for the pod." And I was like, "Fuck, what's he gonna say?" The manager of the month curse is real. And then just walked off. And I was like, spot on it is. Shout out to everyone who went positive pod coming after we equalised. Shout out to everyone who said negative pod coming after they scored. It's nice to know that people are listening and getting involved with our jokes. So thank you very much to everyone I met yesterday. Right, looking ahead, boys. We've got a busy couple of weeks ahead, and it all starts on Tuesday, Tom. 7 p.m. kickoff away at Exeter in the EFL Cup. Is that woke nonsense?
I tell you what it is. It's not good for me. It's a 4 a.m. That is in no man's land for me.
No wonder your enthusiasm for this tournament's waning. It's not actually because of the league. It's just because we're not. Yeah, the times are antisocial.
Yeah, it's because I looked at the fixtures 2 minutes before coming on this, and just part of me died because I will get up for it because I'm a fucking idiot.
Committed, not an idiot. You're committed.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. Like, we have got so many games coming up, and I'm sure we rotate the squad, but I think there's levels to the rotation, right? I think the League Cup, we've gone fairly strong on our teams. Like this Exeter one, the genuinely
trophy. I think I did call it it's on FOTMob. It says the EFL Cup, but it's not. Obviously, I confused that with the League Cup in my head. This is the Virtue Trophy. So just to confirm.
Yeah, like this game, you might get you on the bench as a bulky boy because I think.
BBN is calling me. My phone's ringing, so I should go and pick that up.
I'd buy a ticket immediately if you were on the bench.
It might put, to be fair, it might put. I think you put numbers on the door, but I don't know. It'd be really interesting to see what BBM does with this one because something's got to give somewhere, and it feels like Exeter away in the Virtue Trophy is where it's going to give. But then it's one of those ones where you win a couple of games and suddenly you're dreaming of a trophy in you. So I'd love just to go and win the game. I'd be a bit gutted if we lose it, but I'd be very, very shocked if you put a strong team out.
I wonder if they have.
It's a bit like how.
Guys. Sorry, I'm just thinking playing on Tuesday. I was just like, what shirt size do I need? It'd probably be an XL. I put on my Will Puscod match worn shirt. That was a large, and that just about fit me now. So I think I go XL to be safe.
I think you being next to men in quite good shape might mention of being exposed. Shape? I'm not. I'm saying it would look like a different type of large. I think extra large would be safer. Is why
I would look like for a lot of these players. I would look like their dad. Like who's let their dad play? Sorry, Ryan, I cut you off rudely there.
No, absolutely. I think it was worth saying. Actually, I think the Virtue Trophy is sort of what English clubs treat the Europa League like. You really don't give a shit about it in the group stages, but if you make the quarterfinals or semi-finals, then all of a sudden it becomes quite interesting. And I think that's how we should play it. We've got a pretty favourable group. Exeter are really struggling. I weirdly listened to an Exeter City podcast featuring David Hill, the comedian. Very funny podcast. So I have this weird vested interest in Exeter, and their fans are fuming at the moment. They lost to Port Vale yesterday. Obviously, Port Vale's first win of the season. And I think for us, the Virtue Trophy is quite exciting because it's something a bit fresh. But if you're another League One team, they couldn't give an absolute flying fuck about it. So play some of the lads. I'd like to see your man, the winger, who played for the 21s. I can only say his name if I see it written down because it is Ninian Kua. That's it. Yeah. Sorry. And Mafiko, and obviously Osher would be good to get some minutes. It's a good competition for players.
Kellyman. I'd like to see Kellyman get some minutes.
Yeah. And we spoke about this yesterday, Ben, didn't we? Who's going to be the first one to go? Oh, Kellyman, man.
Oh, Kellyman, man.
Yeah, looking forward to that.
I'm going to say that all day.
I'm going to spell his name Kelly Munn from now on. It's not Kelly Man, it's Kelly MUN from now on.
Kelly Man. So yeah, looking forward to seeing a few extra faces, and big shout out to the 500 completing Exeter freaks who are going to Exeter for the Virtue Trophy on Wednesday or Tuesday, whenever it is. That is fucking mad, and I respect it hugely.
I did think about going, but I'm having a minor surgical procedure that morning, so I won't be going to that.
On your eyebrow?
On my...
You started already, yeah.
I started already. Yeah, this is actually the pre-op. Exeter, I've had a look at the league table. They are smack bang in 16th. Played 8. They've scored 9. They've conceded 9. And they have 9 points, which is fantastic.
You'd be smack bang in 16th?
Yeah, I was thinking that. Yeah.
I don't know why I said it. I was like, I meant their points were like, whatever, doesn't matter. And who's the former Cardiff City player in their ranks?
Josh McGuinness.
Goalkeeper, striker extraordinaire. Still plugging away. I think he's got 3 goals this season.
Saw him broke his leg against Blackpool at home. The coldest football match I've ever been.
Yeah, and we never saw him again, really, did we? That was kind of his debut, and we never came back. You froze then, Ryan?
No, I didn't. I just stopped speaking.
Oh, I could hear you, but it was kind of choppy.
He definitely went off. But
don't worry. Don't worry. You're back now. Tom, anyone in particular you want to see get game time? That 16-year-old from the development team who's playing with the first team, whose name I cannot pronounce.
Tanky is what they call him.
Tanky.
Like some
Tanky.
I was in school with the Tanky. He once broke his ankle playing rugby, and the coach told him to run it off.
Maybe it's him.
And did he?
He had a good go, yeah. He claimed he played for the Huddersfield Giants in rugby league. He's from that way. He wasn't just travelling far. And they put him on in a game, and they threw him the ball. He didn't know what to do, and he threw it back into the ruck. So I'm guessing he was lying. Anyway, sorry, yeah. What was the question? Who do you want to play against?
Yeah, who do you want to see? Matt Turner?
I think, Matt Turner, definitely. I think, it's an ideal one to, blood in the new signings. I think you get, 50 minutes out of them, something like that, just to give them a bit of game time. there is a part of my brain that goes, wouldn't it be funny if we do put a full strength team out and try and absolutely whack Exeter?
But, save that for Newport, surely.
Oh, yeah, good point. I keep forgetting we've got them in the group as well. Not too asked about Arsenal under 21s. But yeah, I think you've got to rotate in here. I think get as many youngsters in there as possible. Give them some game time. It's the ideal kind of way to blood them in.
Yeah, and then the big one next Saturday, top of the table clash, which I don't think anyone saw coming against Bradford. I think they had another win yesterday, and they sit second in the table. Obviously, we have a game in hand, which changes things ever so slightly. Yes, they are second in the table, and yes, they did win yesterday. Can't remember who they played. It was Huddersfield, which, I mean, Huddersfield probably not setting the world alight as they would have expected. Tom, these home games, especially against teams in and around us at the top of the table, you know, we've already talked about games like Luton and Plymouth being like markers for the season. Stockport was to an extent, but it seems like next Saturday is another one, isn't it?
Yeah, I feel like we've been saying this most weeks, but you look at the table, it's like them being second. It is, you know, like a win against them, you pull ahead a bit more. And I'm sure we'll say the same when we play the likes of Huddersfield, Barnsley, Bolton, teams like that. They're just all the kind of like clubs that kind of stand out that we've played in the Championship. Bradford, I know, haven't been at that level. They've come from League Two, but they've started well, and it is a big game for us. It's, you know, a comfortable 2-3-0 win, and you start to think, where are we going to lose a game then? Like, we will lose games, don't get me wrong, but like, if we keep checking these teams off, you know, we've had bad performances against what are meant to be good clubs. We've seen off the teams we should have seen off so far. We've absolutely hammered the likes of Plymouth, who are turning it around a little bit now as well. A positive result against Bradford, and we're looking really, really comfortable up there. So yeah, it is a big tie for us, and coming at a good time after the Stockport performance.
Bradford's goal difference is pretty exciting as well. They've scored 14, which is 2 more than us, but they've also conceded 10. So this game could probably end 4-2 or something like that. Ryan, you know, bearing in mind what happened at Stockport this weekend, you're bringing Lola Kabakio straight back in. Are there any other changes you're making?
Off the top of my head, probably no. I would probably like to. I think Isaac Davis deserves a start based on his sub performances, and Cian Ashford's performance would be maybe harsh to drop him, but I think if we're rotating a couple of positions, that would probably be one. Other than that, probably nowhere else. I mean, I'd like to see David Turnbull start, but I don't think you drop either Colwill, and then he probably isn't the right player to play in the Wintle role. So yeah, and that just made me think as well. Obviously, there was discussion of Whitlock earlier. If we can't do that, because then it would be Turnbull and Colwill.
Colwill,
then we're really struggling.
I'm tempted to walk off.
We've got to draw the line on Whitl Pascod there. It just sort of dawned on me as I said Turnbull out loud.
Turnbull,
that's what I mean. Turnbull, Colwill. Oh no! It's a shame we don't have a double D in the team until Ben lines up on Tuesday. Sorry, Ben. It was there.
Get the sports bar out, physio. I'm coming. I don't think I'll be playing on Tuesday against Exeter. Tom, are we going 2 for 2 this week?
Yes, I think we are. I think
Ryan?
we'll beat Exeter comfortably. I think it'll be 3-0. Sorry. Did a bit of a pause. I thought, I'm going to fill it. I think we'll beat Exeter 3-0. And I think we'll beat Bradford 3-1.
Ooh. Ryan, if you are frozen or not frozen, what are your predictions for this week?
I think I'm unfrozen now. My predictions for this week is a 4-0 win against Exeter. Why the hell not? Why the heck not? And Bradford, real marker. Bradford's a real marker. If we get a good result against Bradford, then I think we go all the way unbeaten. That's my hot take. I'm going to say a narrow 1-0 win in a very tight game. Nathan Trott taking all the plaudits once again. But I think, we'll go with that.
Wow. I mean, Ryan, last season you were on this pod. It was some of the most miserable episodes we've ever had, but you've gone a full 180. I was going to say 360, but that would be wrong because that would be back to being you miserable. You've gone a full 180 and you're positive at the moment. We'll get there. We'll bloody get there.
We'll get there. Don't you worry.
I'm going to go with we're going to beat Exeter 2-0, a casual 2-0, and I think we'll beat Bradford 3-1 as well. I think we'll turn it on against Bradford, and the naysayers of BBM, there are none, but the ones, if there are any, will be turned around and back on the BBM bandwagon. Shout out to
Will
Brian
their
Barry.
goal be a penalty?
It'll be a corner.
Free kick. Oh, there we go. Yeah.
Corner or free kick.
So no open play again.
No open play. We're never conceding from open play.
Okay. Cool.
Glad this is an hour and 5 minutes into the episode, so people might not have been paying attention at this point. Thank you to everyone who listens to the podcast. Thank you to everyone who gets involved on Twitter, twitter.com/VFT Ninian. If you're watching on YouTube and you don't already subscribe to the channel, please subscribe. If you are watching on YouTube and you subscribe to the channel, please like the video. Give it hype points. That was a weird moment in time. Get involved with us via Ko-fi, kofi.com/VFT Ninian. We do like money when it's sent to us, but don't worry if you just want to listen to the podcast, because we do it for the love, not the money. Tom, rest of the day ahead of you. What's it looking like?
Oh, work. Yeah, and just work. Yeah, and just with Pasco's name is going to be stuck in my head all day now. So thanks.
No worries. Ryan, what's the rest of the evening got in shape for you? Got in shape? Got in store?
I'm going to go to bed in approximately 30 minutes' time, and that will be my weekend over. And all I've got left to say is send him home, Walt.
Thanks for joining the podcast, Ryan. Tom, thank you as always for joining the pod. We will be back next week after Bradford. Thank you very much.